Hello, everyone. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Thank you for joining us. We're the Hatch Homes Group plus Stephanie.
But Hatch Homes Group anyway.
And this is our Monday market update. And we're really excited to have a special guest. I did a presentation. I heard a presentation that Stephanie did a few weeks ago, and it really just struck a chord with me because, all of us here, millennials particularly, say right now, I'm never going to be able to buy a house, like just really defeatist. They see how prices have gone up and they're just like, put my hands up, I'm going to be a renter forever. And that always just really strikes something in all of us. So I'm excited to share this stuff with you. And Stephanie, just introduce yourself real quick.
Thanks, Angela, and thanks, Michelle, for having me here today. My name is Stephanie Levine, and I work with Sierra Pacific Mortgage as a mortgage advisor. And I am your local friendly mortgage advisor. So I am licensed here in local to Oregon, and I'm also licensed in Washington and California.
Cool. Great. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we have like a good just graph that you're going to share right out the gate, right?
Talking about like the formation of our society, of like the millions of millennials and where we came from and where we are.
Well, ultimately, let's talk like supply and demand, right? We talk about that a lot. We did our video on inventory last week, but it's like, let's look at supply and demand. Will demand dwindle, right? So that's kind of what this looks at a lot of, like, we have all these millennials right now. So, and then we have a Gen Z coming right in after it, but Stephanie, you want to take it?
Yeah, I think like one of the most common questions that I've been getting recently is, should I buy now or should I wait for this bubble to burst? And our rates and going to go up and our home value is going to go down. What is that going to look like? So I did take some time and I did some homework to really better understand what this looks like. And I think like if we look at this chart here, you can see there was this silent generation where our population and births were down. And then baby boomers happened, and there's 76 million baby boomers born. These are the people that are living in houses right now. And they are the ones that have been in their houses a long time. So these are probably the people that are going to start selling their houses. So if you're a baby boomer watching, all these millennials and Gen Y, they're the ones that want to buy your home. And it's really interesting to see these baby boomers in their homes. And now it's the millennials' turn to kind of get into their first time home buyers.
I like how it's kind of matching, like the supply and demand is kind of visual in this, because you can see the baby boomers and how Gen Y and Gen Z are kind of wanting to take over those homes.
It really does just come down to like supply and demand. Like there are a great number of millennials looking to get into a home, and there's just not the space and homes available for everyone to get in. And I think that's a lot of the reason why we saw this pent up demand over the last 18 months.
And it just really shows it's not like it's just gonna like dry up. We're gonna get another burst of it. So how is new construction gonna keep up with this? Like this is really going to create a supply issue, for the,
it's not really going to go away, I think is what that is showing me anyway.
Yeah, so most professionals and economists right now are thinking this is going to continue for the next 3 years. And I have some more data points to share about where we're headed.
Great.
Good.
So according to economists, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, and the Mortgage Bankers Association and the National Association of Realtors, these are all really smart people. These aren't my predictions. These are the economists that our nation follows on. So they come together every so often and create a survey for what we should expect coming up. And you can see we're just ending this starting Q4, And rates are going to go up a smidge by the end of this year. And in Q1 and Q2, they are also expected to go up a smidge each quarter. So we've had these historically low rates, and I would still argue that 3%, under 4-5% is still very, very low, but it's not a 2 anymore. People are used to seeing 2%, and we're not in that range anymore.
Yeah. And that's still driving the demand because of the affordability factor, even though, you know, it does seem like prices are going up, and they are. As the interest rate goes up, that's still like making things more expensive. And with the demand being driven by these numbers that we're looking at here, it is showing that, you know, the demand is not going to just subside.
Right. And I think, oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, I have clients right now that have been more casually looking, and now they see the rates and they're like, okay, like, let's do it. Like, we gotta pull the trigger right now, or we're going to miss out. And I think that that's going to be a common theme in the next 6 months.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think one thing I always say to clients, you can't plan buying your home around the market, because every time you do that, you're going to lose, because by the time it changes, it's too late. Like, you already missed it by the time you hear about it in the news.
Yeah.
So you buy the home when it's in your budget and you can afford it, and then you go. So in addition to rates, I think the other thing that's important to look at is where are home values going? That's the other component in the cost of buying a house.
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously seen some pretty big appreciation rates this year. As you can see, they are kind of predicting that it's going to go down a little bit. And I think that's because the expected rate of the supply and demand is going to be driven by the amount that is available to buy and the affordability factor. So that's going to start leveling off. You know, like, appreciation may be going down, but affordability is going to still stay on the rise. The prices of homes are still going to start, increasing. And I think there's a lot of people that are, you know, a lot of millennials that I speak to, they just think it's so expensive. But guess what? If you're renting an apartment right now, you're paying someone's mortgage. Why not make it your own? Because if you can rent for the rate that you're paying, probably over $2,000 a month, you can own that and pay the same amount, maybe a smidge more. But then at the end of 2 or 5 years, you can get into a home that you actually want to live in forever, maybe. Step up, right? Like, it's not, now is the time to get your foot in the door. Now isn't the time to think that you need to have your forever home and everything that you've always wanted. I understand that why that happens, but I think it's important to kind of put things in perspective of, you know, right now is such a good opportunity. Why don't you get the foot in the door instead of closing that door?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's more like, honestly, it could just be more of like, let's look at it as a business financial decision rather than an emotional decision. And a lot of buyers want to check every single box. Like, if I'm going to buy a house, if I'm going to have this, this, and this, but you can just buy something, just get into it. And then you could do that.
Because you're only building your egg for the next, you know, your nest egg for the next one.
Yeah. I mean, there's also this thing, right? There's leverage and how money works. And so if you have 10,000, 15,000 sitting in your savings account, how much interest are you making on it? But if you take that $15,000 and put it into an asset worth $200,000, $300,000, even if they appreciate at the same value, now your 15,000 is sitting in something 300,000. So it's going to multiply at a faster rate. And it's going to build more wealth along with the equity that's growing in it. It's so powerful.
I really liked what you said when we were talking, Stephanie, about how if you don't like a $400,000 house now, like, well, like, let's look at what it's going to be in a few years or a year. You're still not going to like, it's going to be the same house, more expensive.
Yeah.
So why are you waiting?
Let's look at what that looks like, right? So If you bought a house today at 450,000 and you don't like it, you don't like the countertops, the bathroom isn't what you want, 1 year from now, that same house is going to cost 472. I don't think you'll like it any more than you did today.
Yeah.
But what that's going to do is it's going to grow at a faster rate. So purchasing something at 450, that gives you a loan amount of 360,000 at an interest rate of 3%. The estimated principal and interest would be 1517. So by next summer, that same property is estimated and forecasted to cost 472, and your interest rate is going to be 3.5. So the principal and interest payment is going to be 1697. So that's almost $200 more a month for that same house that you don't like.
It's really putting it in perspective of what the cost of waiting is.
And if you don't like it, like, you know, but it has potential. I mean, it's like, like your first house doesn't need to check every box. Go, you know, buy it, put the countertops in, do the paint, put the new carpet, flooring, whatever down the line. It's actually easier than it seems, unless you're getting a major fixer. And then you're just investing, like it, you know, you're putting more money into that so that you can sell it for more and then get your house that checks more boxes down the line. So it's just getting in there.
So we could do a similar analysis. Let's say you buy that condo today. We can sit down and look at, okay, 1 year from now, how much equity and how much money will you have for your next purchase? What does that look like in 1 year, 2 year? And we can help develop a financial plan to get you in the home that checks all those boxes.
I think that's so important to have a plan. Like I mean, I'm in the same boat telling, you know, I've told, even though I am in real estate, I've often thought, oh, I'll never be able to afford that. You know, like that seems crazy. It's like, well, it's doable if you have a plan. And that's what's so great about working with a trusted lender like Stephanie, is that you can create that plan with your lender and your realtor so you can find that stepping stone to the next phase, right?
Yeah, I always say we don't bite. Like you can meet with us and we're not going to be like, you need to buy a house right now. And I think a lot of people think that like just talking to us means that they have to be ready to buy. And that is not the case. Talking to us is your first step. You know, like we can set you up. You might not have the credit to buy right now. And we totally understand that. You might not have the down payment, but that's why you talk to us first, so we can set you up on that plan.
I love helping people improve their credit. It's not like once we see credit, it's a end all be all. So it's good to start looking under the hood and understanding where you are so that you really can get where you want to go. I wish I knew somebody when I was in my 20s that I felt like I could approach and talk to, and I just didn't feel like the resources were there. It's so scary to do. I totally get it, but that's like
the plan
what I love to do is to like make that plan with somebody and show them the way that how you can do it. I know what it's like to be scared.
Yeah. And I remember like on the flip side, I just had like a serious innate desire to buy a house at a very young age. And obviously my parents were in real estate. So it was like a lot easier just to be like, hey, how do I do this? But you know, like I did it on my own with my husband, and we were both college students. I was 24. I was a barista. I made it happen. We were freaked out of the monthly payment, but we budgeted and we made it happen. And I always say that like starting early and getting into real estate at 24 is set me up for today, which I have multiple investment properties. And it's just like, I'm so grateful for starting early. So,
and those were the days.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah, exactly. And those were the days when the interest rates were like 6%.
Well, oh yeah, there's a good point. My interest rate was 6.3 and it was in the bubble. It was in the actual bubble, like 2006. So, and I made it out. you guys, like I held on to that investment. I made it out. I ended up being a really good investment, even though it was in the bubble. So
and it leveraged you into having a great income property and your own, another bigger house that you're raising your family in. Like that's huge.
yeah, it was. And, like it's just the moral of the story is that like you can make it happen. Like just get a plan. Don't, and there is a little bit of like a sense of urgency that hopefully like we've instilled in you. Just if you have the dream, at least a sense of urgency to like start the conversation and start thinking about it, because the longer you wait, it's not like the market's waiting for you. Like it's not
Going.
I bet the longer you wait, the more boxes that you feel like you must check off.
Mhm.
Like your quality of life is going to get better over time. And it's going to be harder to fulfill all of those on day one.
Yeah. I tell my first time buyers that a lot. Like it's not going to tick every single box, and that's okay because you can make it.
And honestly,
tick those boxes because it's going to be yours. You don't have to answer to anybody else or the landlord and pay their mortgage, pay your own, It's true. I wish somebody had sat me down and talked about this when I was younger too.
And it's rare that a house checks every box anyhow. Like that's something buyers need to know right away. You can have a $2 million, $3 million budget, and it's probably not going to check all the boxes. Like I've seen it.
It's so true. Yeah,
so
you see it all the time.
So yeah,
let's talk about all that. So give us a call and let's start planning for you. We're happy to help.
And Stephanie, how can people reach you? Thank you so much for doing this with us.
Yeah, this is so fun. It's such an important topic. People may email me, stephanie.levine@spmc.com, or they can give me a call at 503-891-6465. And of course, follow me on Instagram, Steph Loves Mortgages.
Thank you so much.
You guys. Thanks for listening, everybody. We hope to hear from you soon. Have a great week.